Welcome to Prague, everybody. Near from home is finally making it to this legendary city. But I'm not just day tripping it. I'm not just coming here for a long weekend. No. I'm going to be living, filming, and working over the next 9 days here in this city. I hope to hit up not just the fantastic architecture, but some incredibly quirky museums and some amazing restaurants too. So hopefully, I'm going to be able to give you some proper recommendations. What's really blowing me away though, right from the start, is how diverse the architecture is. I mean, I was expecting some good looking buildings, but not this many different kinds. We've got some medieval, we've got Baroque, we've got Art Nouveau, and even over in the corner, a little bit of what looks like Soviet brutalist. It is an insane hodgepodge of buildings, and it's beautiful. So without further ado, it's bloody freezing. Let's get to our first activity. The Charles Bridge is indeed beautiful, but it is also so busy. I never thought it would be this busy. You'd think people had never seen a pedestrian footbridge before. And I'm starting to think maybe they should have two. One bridge just for people taking photos and one for people crossing the city, because man, it's like Frogger up in here trying to stay out of people's photos. And bringing the camera seems to put a bit of a mark on my back as I keep being asked to take everyone else's photos too, which I actually think is quite fun. I used to be a professional photographer back in Washington, DC, so it's kind of fun working with people and getting them to pose. But it really is a beautiful bridge, don't get me wrong. I'm still a curmudgeon, but it is really pretty. Just maybe come back at night when it's less so busy. Then it'll be romantic. Right now, it's a bit hectic. Though I'm not that much of a curmudgeon, I do get why it's so popular. And my favorite part is the fact that the only way onto the bridge itself is through the old fortified gate. I love when old infrastructure like that is still around, and the fact that it's the only way onto the bridge, that's my favorite part. It is so cool. And I love all of these somewhat spooky statues everywhere. Every bridge should come with spooky statues. Though I don't know if we're going to be staying on this bridge much longer. Today is not the day to dilly-dally and take photos, as it's just started snowing and I'm freezing. How are you finding the weather on the bridge today? Yeah, that definitely cuts through the vibe. And this part of the bridge right by the western side is really strange to me. It feels almost like an American overpass in the way that we're completely elevated above the ground. I mean, behind me, these are like 3- and 4-story windows that we're all looking into. So strange, but it's very cool. I mean, there's a whole village down there. And I keep trying not to look into people's windows because you don't want to be creepy about it, but it's just so interesting. What lives do they live looking over this bridge? No privacy, I'll tell you that. And I'll tell you something that has really surprised me now that we've headed over to the west side of Prague, and that's that it's still incredibly pretty. I mean, so many times when you go to these amazing European cities, one side, usually the east, is really nice, and the west, not so much. But here in Prague, both sides are incredibly good. There's more cars over here, but I can forgive them for that. And it's a little bit more hilly too, but I think the sights are gonna be worth it. Now, probably my favorite way to get from the bridge to the castle is along the fortification wall. I mean, it's a lot of steps, but this is a near from home video after all. You know I'm gonna recommend the wall. Though it might be easier to go along the road instead. A little less steep. The wall is incredible though. Not my favorite, but definitely up there. I think my favorite fortification wall was most likely in the Cinque Terre video, if you haven't seen that. But in the town of Porto Venere, that was the best fortification wall I've ever seen. Though this one can be in my top 5. Now that we've crushed that final bit of elevation, we've made it to Prague Castle, which realistically is more of a palatial complex with their main cathedral inside it. The drone footage that I've seen is incredible, and the ambiance around here, I've got to say, I'm really impressed. Prague, as always, is incredibly beautiful. However, I do have a bit of a letdown for you. I'm not gonna go into it. In fact, I only came up here to tell you that I'm not gonna go into it and to get some of those amazing city skyline views. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think when a lot of people travel, they get the FOMO, the fear of missing out. They want to do every major TripAdvisor that they can, and they just don't want to feel like they're, like I said, missing out on anything. But I've been to a lot of palaces. This is not my first rodeo. And I've been to a lot of cathedrals, and they're just not my favorite things to do while I'm on vacation. I like castle ruins, I love hiking, and on this trip, I love all the beer, but I don't need to see another palace if I'm being completely honest with you. So no, you can flame me in the comments if you want, but I would always recommend to travel with your hobbies, with your interests. If you've never been to a palace, this would be an amazing first. And if you love them, you should go. But if you're not really feeling for it, don't bother, mate. Go do something you like. Never feel pressured by other people to really do anything. It's your vacation. Oh well, in this case, it's my vacation. Now, as a bit of a reprieve, we are actually going to go to a bit of a touristy, bit of a fun museum, the Museum of Alchemists, because apparently Prague does have a history of having too many alchemists. I have absolutely no idea what on earth that means, but there's only one way to find out.
In Prague, during his reign, there was been something about 200 of the alchemists. Never been so much as the same place. There was a lot of not only alchemists, but also a lot of the, you can call them scientists, like Johannes Kepler. Just here in Prague, he just made the proof that Earth is evolving around the sun.
This museum is a lot of fun, as long as you don't take it too seriously. It's all ambiance and it's all thematic, and I like that quite a lot.
Look at this right here. It's an exploded flask
with gold dust everywhere.
Mid-explosion after a failed experiment.
I love it. I wish my attic looked like this. He was the most erudite man of his time, a mathematician, astronomer, astrologer. However, he was also a secret agent of the Queen of England. Also, William Shakespeare awaits you here too, also as a secret agent. I love this museum so much. It's fantastic. Now, you're probably not going to see this on every itinerary of Prague, but since we're staying here for about 9 days, I need to go get myself some soap, because comment below if you can relate, the stuff they give you in hotels is usually kind of crap. So we're gonna go to Hortus Botanicus and Apothecus to get some really fancy soap. Probably gonna be a little bit overpriced, but it's one of those real guilty pleasures I love to do every time I'm staycationing. And it smells wonderful in here. Not to mention it's so warm in here and so cold out there. Fantastic stuff. Back to the actual reasons why we're here in Prague. Another good thing about getting to stay here for over a week instead of just day tripping or blasting by is that we have a lot more opportunities for good weather. Today, not so much, but for the rest of the week, hopefully we have better luck. Now, usually poor weather like this would bother me, but not so in Prague. They have so many tiny, quirky little museums that I was gonna spend all day inside anyway. I mean, the collection is wild. They have almost everything, like the Central Gallery, the Museum of Torture, the Gallery of Steel Figures complete with Robot Horus and Mecha Anubis, the Film Special Effects Museum, the Museum of Alchemists, the Museum of Myths and Faith, the Ghosts and Legends Museum. But I think the first place we're actually going to go today is going to be the Central Gallery right here in Prague's main square. It offers a triple threat of fine artists, Dali, Warhol, and Camille's favorite, Mucha, and I think we might just get the combined ticket and see all three. We'll find out if it's worth it for you.
It's so tiny. Hey, look up. Look up for me. I need you to look up.
Oh. And I think I like this one the most because it asks the real questions. Do you want a biscuit? Yeah. That museum was really good. Honestly, it surprised me. I was not completely sold. I was going mostly for you because Camille likes anything involving Mucha. And you know, why not include some other fine artists while you're there as well? But honestly, I loved it. Getting to compare all of them and see a small little sample selection, you know, between all the different artists, that was awesome. But I am starving. No more museums until we get some good food.
Yeah.
Now, by seeing all of that fine art, I have worked up a proper appetite. But considering that we're essentially in the main tourist center of Prague, I didn't really think we were going to be able to find any good food. But Camille promises that the restaurant behind me is going to be excellent. There's only one way to find out. All right, now that we are done with our meal, I feel fully rejuvenated and ready for the next museum. What's on the docket?
So I feel like we got a really good taster with the last Mucha Museum.
Oh, yeah.
So now we are going to the dedicated Mucha Museum.
Fantastic. Let's go get more Mucha. Welcome to the dedicated Mucha Museum. What separates this place from the triple threat earlier is naturally the focus. But more so than just that, this museum is not merely dedicated to his art or style, but to his life itself. Clearly separated into distinct periods, you can see here how his very life created a complex feedback loop within his art, step by step, decade by decade. So let's take our time and enjoy everything that this museum has to offer. From his naturally world-famous posters and paintings to his lesser-known early illustrations and later work creating their very style that would define the foundation of a newborn Czechoslovakia when he created the world's coolest stamps and banknotes. And so even though most of us out there will associate glorious Art Nouveau with Paris, this museum reminds us to study the man behind the style and how it truly was born here in Prague and perfected for Czechoslovakia. That museum was so much better than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, I've known for a while that we were gonna be doing all of these Mucha exhibitions, but man, I just feel like I have a much greater appreciation for him as an artist, what he was trying to achieve. Everything was laid out so clearly that, man, I could not say better things about this museum if I tried. So I definitely still recommend the Central Gallery. I enjoyed my little taster this morning, but that right there was a full meal. So if you like what you see, you need to go check it out. And I absolutely love that Prague is just full to the brim with pretty cool vintage trams. And it's the exact kind of thing that I'm worried British people and Germans perhaps will kind of turn their nose up. Those are the sorts of trams that I would see in a history museum back in Germany. But I mean, if there's one thing better than recycling and reusing, is refurbishment and keeping things rolling on the track. But I'll tell you, I absolutely love it. I think they look fantastic going through all the high streets. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. Why get a new tram when you've got gold on the rails already? Happy Monday night out there, everybody. I hope you had a good day at work. I know I did, but now that I'm off work, I suppose this begins the official staycation part of my vacation in Prague. And so now, I need to find something to do for the evening. And I actually feel really fortunate tonight because, well, one of my favorite things, unexpected things about having this YouTube channel has been getting to meet so many people. Not only so many subscribers in Munich, but getting to go out and meet other YouTubers as well. Finally, people who can complain about the algorithm with me. And as luck would have it, 2 other YouTubers that we speak to quite frequently on Instagram, followers at near.fromhome, reached out to let us know that they're in Prague tonight filming a video. I mean, how lucky is that? And so I suppose for my first weekday in Prague, I went to work and then I'm going now to meet friends for dinner. Never thought I'd be doing that in Prague. Now I know what you're thinking, come on curmudgeon, what do you really think about all of the architecture in Prague? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I always am, but it's really good, and I expected to be unimpressed. Not because it's not good, but because I'm spoiled. I mean, if you guys have seen my backlog, I live in Munich, I went to Florence, I go to Salzburg all the time. Some of my best videos have been in some of the most picturesque towns in Germany. So how is Prague gonna hold up to just, well, how numb I've become to it all? And the answer is just impeccably well. This city is one of the most beautiful I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot.
Is it possible to buy a tram ticket? I just want to buy a ticket from here to here.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so it is Wednesday for me. On Monday and Tuesday, I spent all day walking around Prague Old City, getting B-roll for both of our videos. So since I'm so ahead of schedule, I thought I'd head outside of the old town to the Olšany Cemetery. Okay, so I've been walking around the cemetery for about an hour, just taking everything in, getting some footage, and I was getting a little bit creeped out because earlier in the day, nobody was really here. It was incredibly overcast, and it was making the whole old part of the cemetery very dreary. It was just a little bit unsettling walking by all of these old graves that are from like the 1800s that have like tree roots going into the ground under the graves, pushing up the stones so you can kind of like see in. Some of this might have been my own fault because I was going up to some of the mausoleums that look especially old and creepy and like putting my face into the doorway and like the holes in the wall. My heart was pounding at one point because I did that, and then I heard somebody's voice. I thought it was coming from inside the mausoleum, but it was just somebody on the other side of the mausoleum talking. But in the last 20 minutes, the sun has come out and this graveyard has a totally different vibe. It's kind of weird. But let me know in the comments, is this a super weird activity where you live? Do you live in Europe and this is more normal, or do you live in the United States and you're like, I don't know what this girl is going on about? But yeah, with that being said, I think I'm going to head back into the old city and do just a little bit of editing before dinner tonight.
Guys, we have a problem. The food just arrived. I'm already through about 2 of these, and I just ordered a 3rd. I got a black truffle sausage made here fresh. Camille got a kind of goulash soup, which hilariously came with a brezen, so not too adventurous. And we also have a smoked mashed potatoes. Brilliant, thank you so much. Told you we were on for a 3rd. So good. Maybe 1.5 liters of beer comes off as like excessive to maybe some of the Americans and British in the room, but I live in Bavaria. This is a Tuesday. It only gets wild if we hit 3 liters. Yeah. And I have to say, this is pretty good. Not the best truffle I've ever had. That was in San Miniato, video on screen now. This, however, is the best I've ever had outside of San Miniato. That's high accolades. I need to stop eating that. I need to show you some of the other foods. But oh, I could just finish that right now. What I'm really excited for are these smoked mashed potatoes with tons of garlic. We all know this is gonna be incredible. This restaurant, I would highly recommend that you come here. The waiters have been so nice, they brought over a book because recently in 2023, they've been shown as the cover, the headline of Prague's Best Places to Eat 2023 edition. They're published in a book as being one of the best, and I completely agree. So I've had a few beers, an amazing meal, and it's pastry time. The waiter recommended we get the vetrenik, rate my pronunciation below, which is essentially, it's like a very puffy pastry filled with vanilla cream and caramel glaze on top. It's supposedly super Czech, very famous. Let's see how it tastes. I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to eat it. They didn't give us a knife, so it's all gonna come out in the wash, isn't it? I feel terrible. I've destroyed a work of art just so I can consume it. The bite looks good though. Hold on, that is incredible. The caramel is such a deep and rich flavor. It's so good. Almost tastes like they melted a Werther's Original all over the top. And the cream is incredibly cold. Almost feels like an ice cream, but it's not. But it gives it that kind of dense texture in your mouth. This is so lovely. Cool, you have to try this. I have no idea if I'm eating it correctly, but it tasted amazing, so how bad can it be? You can't be doing it too wrong if it tastes great, right? Is that not the best dessert we've had in Prague? Man, this restaurant is too much. It really is. All right, but now we need to let Camille put the camera down so we can eat this with a little bit of peace. Perhaps what I've cherished most about this staycation, living, working, and filming my way through Prague, has been getting to go out for every meal and dive into the food culture. If you only get a day or two in a city, how many restaurants can you reasonably go to? And can you make a real food guide worth watching in that time? I don't think so. Nor do I have enough time in this video to show you all of the amazing food I've eaten or the incredible beers that I've drunk and even bathed in. So to that end, hit the subscribe button right now, really. Click the button. It supports the channel and it makes me pretty happy too. Because coming out right after this video, hopefully next week, is our complete Czech food tour. It is going to be awesome. So if you've liked this video, I know you'll love the one coming up and you're gonna wanna find out everything else we've been eating and getting up to during our staycation. And if you've been finding this guide helpful, don't forget to check out our website at link.nearfromhome.com/itineraries, where we provide full written guides that you can carry in your pocket. And we even offer video call itinerary checks too. So if you want Near From Home's help planning your next vacation and want to hang out a little bit on chat as well, then make sure you follow that link, support the channel, and be back here next week for the food tour. All right, it's Friday night, I just got off work, and if you remember about 6 days ago, though I suppose that was only a few minutes for you, we spent all weekend going to as many Mucha exhibits as we could find. However, there's been one in the back of my mind this whole week, the iMucha exhibit, and I've decided I'm gonna give it a go. They say it's the largest exhibition of his art in the world, along with some more modern reinterpretations of his work as well. So, with all of that combined, I know I need more Mucha in this video, so let's get going. This is incredible. I say that every time and I always mean it. This is exactly how I want my last memory of Prague to be before I go home. We've got the morning sun breaking through the clouds, a light dusting of snow over all of the buildings, and we practically have the bridge to ourselves. This is perfection, and it was well worth getting up early and freezing my ass off. I imagine everyone else here feels exactly the same, except for maybe Camille. So I suppose the lesson of the story is, if you wake up early, the Charles Bridge still can be really romantic. And I think, honestly, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. It has been 9 fantastic days, 2 videos. We've got the beer tour and the city tour. And I also had to work all week, so it sure has been a hell of a lot. Our bus leaves in a few hours. I think I'm gonna go take one final warm shower, pack up, and then I'm back to Munich. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've really liked it. Naturally, you need to like and subscribe if you want to check out all of the Prague series, which you definitely should. And I'll see you all in the next video, wherever that might be.